If you're tired of hearing the same old basic mindset and motivational fluff talk, you've come to the right show. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast, where we dish on everything from managing that crazy brain of yours to manifesting abundance to my straightforward, actionable steps that will make you major money online. Now, I'm not your typical multimillionaire entrepreneur. It takes a small village to keep my anxiety and depression in check. I'm inherently disorganized with an intense obsession with office supplies. Your girl here is a digital marketing content expert who's generated over $200 million in sales. I promise by tuning in twice a week, you will get a much needed refreshing dose of truth, clarity, and cash-making advice. Now let's get to it. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, and you are going to get a ranty with an edge of cunty for today's episode. So just warning you. The episode is Keeping the Peace is Killing You. And I want to start by reading this quote that a friend of mine sent me. Life will keep bringing you the same people over and over again until you recognize who they are. Pay attention, for it is not them who requires change. It's you. Ooh. And that's a hard one to swallow because it's like, well, it almost feels like you're letting these toxic people, broken people off the hook or excusing their behavior. And that's not what it's saying. It's saying if you keep encountering the same type of people, the same type of situations, or even feeling physically the same type of way, it's happening on repeat because the universe, God is trying to go, listen, honey, like I'm trying to tell you something here. Like, hello, you need to take a look at this because we're the common denominator in our lives. I have a story for you. I had to let him go to save myself. Someone I loved very much broke my heart again and again and again, yet I kept trying to make it work and get him to see the light. I was so focused on trying to get him to change that I slowly lost myself. When you pour your heart into people who don't appreciate it, you end up abandoning yourself. Typically, without fully realizing it, until you're left so broken you hardly recognize yourself anymore. I knew I was going down with his sinking ship, and I had to gather the strength to rescue myself. And I did. Guaranteed, I know this story is familiar to you. Some version of it. It could be with a friend, it could be with a family member, it could be with a partner. And if you're an overgiving people pleaser like me, there's no way that this hasn't happened more than once, multiple times in your life. We see the potential in others. We see the good. We understand their pain. We empathize with their pain. We get fixated on if they only would understand how much this is hurting the family. If they would only understand, like all I need is these three things for them to do, these three very basic things, or this one thing, and it's really not much effort. Why is it so hard for them? And then we internalize that, thinking that their behavior is they don't feel like we're worth it, right? We're worth it somehow, especially when it's someone very close to us. It's so freaking painful. And I've dealt with this my entire life. If she would only communicate better, if he would only share more about his childhood, if they would only go to therapy, if they would just really sit down and listen and understand how much this is really hurting me, then they would change. We don't know that they would change. And let me tell you, I almost died trying. Really. 2.5 years. And maybe some of you aren't as stubborn as me and you don't go on as long with something. But the longer we go on trying to make things right, make things nice, keep everyone happy, keep the peace in the household, the more we lose ourselves, the more we get disconnected from ourselves without even really realizing it. We start tolerating really not great behavior. And as my friend Andrea says, fuck the crumbs. I want the whole damn loaf. I love that. Where we will take the crumbs of love, crumbs of friendship, crumbs of commitment, crumbs of money. We'll take the crumbs because now we're conditioned that the crumbs feel better than getting none. And the fact we're just getting it here and there, right? Then when we do get it, it feels so good. It feels like more than crumbs at the time, but it really is just crumbs where you deserve the entire loaf. And no one is coming to save us from these people. There's no one that can pull ourselves out of it. I'm sure you've had close friends, even therapists, coaches that have said, like, you need to disconnect from this person or have a break from this person or go no contact with this person. Yet you still did it and then felt shame for staying in it, shame for picking up the phone, shame for falling for it again, shame for taking them back. I've done all of this to where I've even kept things secret from anyone in my life because I knew that they would be like so disappointed in me and think that I was so crazy that I was like letting this person do whatever again, that I took him back again. Why do we do these things again and again and again? We wouldn't do it if there wasn't a payoff. We wouldn't do it if we weren't getting something out of it. And we're doing this. There's several reasons I've discovered, both in like coaching thousands of people, even though I coach people on business and money, of course, personal stuff comes up because really it's all tied together. And my own work, countless years of my own work. But what I've noticed, we don't want life disruption. So we don't want to have to pull back from a family member and then have the drama from other siblings or other family gatherings and it become like a whole thing. We avoid confrontation because confrontation is never fun. So it's avoiding just confrontation, someone being mad at you. A third one is abandonment. We don't want to be abandoned by people. That's my big wound, which sucks because when you expose your wounds and are intimate with people and then they use those wounds against you, and they're doing it purposefully. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's terrible. And I know you've had that done to you and it sucks. So that third one, abandonment, not wanting to be alone, not wanting to be excluded, we care about these people, whether they're a client, friend, lover, we care about these people deeply, or we wouldn't keep going back. We wouldn't keep trying. We wouldn't keep yearning. We wouldn't keep wanting. And it's so exhausting. And once I left, I poured all of that energy I was wasting into myself. And it felt totally unfamiliar and selfish at times, but it's when the deeper healing happened. And it had to happen. We have to remove ourselves sometimes for situations. Sometimes it's just temporary. Sometimes it's forever. Sometimes it's for a season, right? A reason, season, a lifetime. In order for us to gain clarity, because when we're in it, when we're in the fog, which that acronym stands for fear, obligation, guilt, when we're in that fog, we can't see clearly, especially if you are dealing with someone who has a mental illness, like they're a narcissist, you're dealing with something like that, or it's a toxic person or an addiction. You're just dealing with someone who is a hurt, wounded soul who's wounding others. And I recently noticed something I'm attracting, which is what prompted my friend to send me that quote that I read at the beginning. I'm like, why? How did I miss this? How did I allow another person with this personality profile into my life? Like I was actually like watching and being vigilant and being careful for this person to not come back in my life. Yet here they are. It's just a same person in a different outfit. And she sent me that quote. And I went, okay, what is going on here? What's the deeper wound here? Because there's typically a deeper wound. It goes back to childhood. It goes back to an incident that's occurred, trauma that's occurred, stuff we wanted that we didn't get as kids, that we still yearn for, stuff that we're not giving to ourselves. You're not giving yourself enough rest, nurturing, self-care, downtime, positive talk, pep talks, right? You're not giving yourself enough of something. We'll end up seeking it in other people. And it's most of the time it is subconscious. And then we end up with these kind of trauma bonds with these people, which makes it even harder to untangle from those relationships. Because it's like, oh my God, if I disconnect with this person, I'm not going to be okay on my own, whether it's financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. I'm just not going to be okay. And it's like this anxious, terrified child that's operating there. And the first thing is to take a look. If you see repeat patterns, oh my God, not another one, not another toxic person, not another person who distances themselves from me, not another client who doesn't pay me, not another coworker who's a bitch. I want you to look at that and go, who does this person's behavior, not necessarily them, like how they look and exact maybe actions they've taken, but whose energy and even behavior, like whose energy and behavior is this similar to from my childhood or in my past? It could be from an ex-husband where there's a trauma that occurred there, and the other person's like a female, but their energy. And I know you guys can feel someone's energy. You can feel when someone pulls back. You can feel when someone's in. You can feel when someone's mad, even though they say they're not mad. You can feel when someone has so much hatred towards you. And so when I was unpacking this and I'm looking at the theme is the personality and energy traits of my mom, and where they're unpredictable and they hate me. There's like a seething jealousy or resentment towards me that is palatable. Like I can feel it. And my inner child wants to go, but I'm so likable and I'm so lovable and I care about you, and let me show you and let me love on you more and let me prove to you that it's safe to love me and you don't have to hate me and you can accept me and you can embrace me. And then that's where that codependency, people-pleasing pull can come from. And that can happen automatically if I don't catch it. But most of the time now I catch it because I've done the work. But it doesn't feel good. And I know you've had people do that. It could be so, and I'm sure someone's coming to your mind right now in your life, and this episode is timely. Don't ignore the fact that this episode is coming out and you're listening to it. It's another message from the universe. It's another sign going, see, there's something you need to unpack here. And I was like, oh my God, I have a wound I need to address. That mother wound I need to address, where like my inner child feels scared when someone is mean and hateful and spiteful. She gets very scared of those people. And then my entire nervous system goes freaking haywire. So what it's showing me is I have healing work to do in this area. I need to pour more time, energy, and attention into letting little Tiffy, as I call her, letting her know that she's safe, she's supported, she's secure, she's loved, and that she's going to be protected no matter what. And there's not enough of that. And of course she's scared. She's been through a lot of trauma in her life. And I need to give her that. And am I at the point right now in this recent revelation to go, I'm so thankful these people have come into my life and caused chaos? No, I'm not at that. I'm not quite at that stage yet, but I'm kind of halfway there. Our lessons come from pain. Our pain is our biggest teacher. It's not avoidable, yet most of us spend our entire lives avoiding pain, where if we just went through it and navigated it, what's waiting on the other side is so beautiful. And I've done that in my life where I've gone through it. I sit in the dirty diaper. I go through the pain, and it sucks, and it's lonely, and it's isolating, and it's terrifying, and it brings up all sorts of crazy brain stuff. But on that other side, it's like you're putting the pieces of a broken disco ball back together. Imagine a broken disco ball. That's what you are. That is shattered. And all you're doing is putting each of those pieces of that broken disco ball back together every time you navigate pain, every time you confront and do scary things, every time you show up for yourself instead of shying away, every time you follow through with a promise to yourself or other people. Those keep putting one more of those tiles back on the disco ball, one more on the disco ball. And all of us are broken disco balls. And you're like, I'm going with that analogy because a disco ball is so multifaceted, and it changes colors, and it's fun and vibrant. And we lose that carefree, fun, vibrance, that lightness. We lose that about us when we have all the broken pieces, as does the disco ball. It's not there anymore. We're like a shell of our former selves. So you want more energy in your life. You want more abundance. You want higher quality people in your life. You've got to start unpacking this stuff, and you don't have to do it alone. You can do it with someone else, but you're not alone in this. This is sadly common. When I said in the episode with Detective Steve, I'm like, how can we avoid these and prevent these toxic people from coming in our lives? How can we better spot them? And I don't remember if he said it on the episode or he said it to me after, but he said, there are really fucked up people in the world, and there's a lot of them, and there's no avoiding them, because some of these people are really skilled at putting on a show, or some of these people weren't toxic before, but they've changed. They've morphed into somebody else, or stressors in life, or a situation, or a medication, or an addiction, right? Turn them into a different version of themselves. What is the one solid consistency is teaching yourself how to navigate these tough times, these tough people, these painful situations, because that's what's always going to get you through it. Spending your time trying to avoid and assess these people. I'm not saying to not be aware, but the energy really needs to be spent on yourself and really looking at that and having those conversations with yourself. And I can blame myself. I was in a spot where I'm like, how did I miss this again? How did I miss this again? Well, you know what? I'm a broken disco ball from being a trauma survivor, and I'm hardwired for some things that I'm going to miss. I have blind spots. We all do. We don't say a car's a piece of shit because it has a blind spot, do we? No, all cars have blind spots. We can't possibly see everything. We're not God. We can't. And then that's another way to shame ourselves. So I'm officially declaring that I'm letting myself off the hook. Oh my God, I feel like I can exhale saying that. And I want you to let yourselves off the hook too, instead of beating yourself up. How did I marry this person? Why haven't I left this person yet? Why haven't I detached from this person or cut them off? Because you're just not wired that way, and you will. You will when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, just like anything else in your life. I don't want to forget to let you guys know that my fall applications are now officially open for my exclusive 2-month private business coaching program. And I only take 6 people at a time, and I don't always have this container open. So the application link is when you swipe up, it's in the link in the bio, so you can easily access it there. And it's also in the link in bio on my Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. And if you have any questions, like, is this the right fit for me right now? Do you think I'm a good fit for this? If you have questions like that, feel free to DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I'll steer you in a direction. I'll say, no, that's probably not going to work best for you now. I think you should start here. I'll let you know what I think is a what I think is a good fit based where you're at. But I coach new entrepreneurs starting from scratch at zero and entrepreneurs who are wanting to scale to the higher six figures and millionaire status. So they're two separate 2-month programs. It just depends on where you're at in your business, but I use the same application for it just to keep things simple for everyone on our end. I want you guys to just take a moment. I'm going to close my eyes. I feel really called to breathe and speak this into your ear. So go with me on it, no matter where you're at. I deserve to have the best in my life. I'm an incredible person who cares so much about people. I'm genuine. I'm loving. I have a big heart. I care so much. And I want the best for people. I want the best for myself. I deserve the best for myself. But I'm also done being beaten down by other people, places, situations, jobs, clients. I don't want that. I'm not available for that anymore. I'm declaring right now that I'm going to take my power back. I'm going to pour into me first. That doesn't mean I can't help other people. That doesn't mean I can't serve and love on other people. But I'm going to help and serve on myself first. Because no one else is going to do any better of a job than I'm not already doing on myself. And the more I love myself, the more I nurture myself, the more I can trust myself, the more I can empower myself, I'm going to attract people who are the same because it attracts. And I'm not going to beat myself up for attracting these people, staying in something too long, marrying someone, having kids with someone, being too scared to leave, going back 1,000 times, staying in a dead-end job, not starting my business, because now I lose twice. And I don't deserve that. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is start making different choices based on today. And I'm going to do that one step at a time and one day at a time. And I'm going to trust that is more than enough. That is more than enough for me to attract the abundance and the love and the security and the safety and the freedom that I desire in my life. And so it is. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.